they come, the thing. The thing done, they come, the thing. The thing done, they come, the thing. The thing done, they come, the thing.
Hello everyone, my name is Lawrence Chuno. Welcome to episode 14 of Doing Art. This episode is with actor, director, and writer Dane Joseph. I met Dane through a mutual friend of ours, and as I got to know him, I could not help but want to sit down with him and just chat about his work. Dane has a lot of credits under his name, including a few web series, TV shows, and feature films. And his set of skills ranges from writing through acting and directing. He's just a very prolific guy. You can learn more about Dane by going to the website of the show, doingart.net. Okay, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I present Dane Joseph. All in your face. So let's do this. All right, Dane Joseph, welcome to Doing Art. So we're just gonna talk. This is not an interview or anything. It's just like a conversation. Just want the people to know the good things you're doing.
Thank you.
So we've been talking for a while. I should have been recording. Where we stopped was when you told me you actually auditioned to go to CMU for musical theater.
Yes, back in the day.
Back in the day. Nice. You want to tell us what happened? Why not CMU?
What happened? Well, I actually, so more complicated. I went to an arts boarding school called the Interlochen Arts Academy, which is in northern Michigan.
Okay.
So we have a lot of kids that go off to Juilliard and CMU and CCM and places like that, NYU, etc. For me, I don't know. I didn't think at first when I was younger that I really wanted to be an actor per se. But I went to this school and everybody was going to be an actor, So I auditioned for a few schools of CMU, Michigan, NYU. The one that I was looking most closely at was NYU, and I wanted to move to New York at the time. So I'm going to NYU, and then by the time I want to say it was time to make decisions, let's say, of where to deposit I got to go. I decided that doing musical theater at NYU wasn't for me either. So I passed that school up, and I instead chose to go to Notre Dame. However, Notre Dame. So I paid my deposit and go to Notre Dame, and I was good. And then I think right before classes started, my dad said, "I can't afford it. I'm so sorry."
Oh my gosh!
So it was terrible. Like a week before classes started, so I had to scramble. And then randomly, a little school in New Jersey I had never heard of called Seton Hall. I'd applied to as a backup school. Okay. And I called them up and they gave me a scholarship. And I said, "Well, do y'all still have space?" And they're like, "Well, we'll make space. Let's come on down." And so in a week, I went from going to Notre Dame to going to this school in New Jersey, and I'm actually really happy I did.
That's good. What did you study there?
I studied history.
History.
I wanted nothing to do with theater, so I studied history.
Why the radical change in career choice at that time?
At that time? Oh, no, it was. It was that the school I went to was very competitive. So the boarding school I went to was very competitive.
Okay.
In terms of theater, so it was a lot of really talented kids. Some of them you will see in films and movies and TV shows and Broadway, etc. So it was just a bit more competitive. And I think when I was when you're 14, 15, 16, they have really harsh criticism about what you're doing.
Yeah.
Combined with being around other really talented kids, my confidence just wasn't very high, and I was just a bit over it. So I did something completely different. But I said that, but then I went to Seton Hall, and I was actually double majored. I majored in economics and history,
Mm-hmm.
and then I auditioned for one of the first school play there. I was like, well, I'll audition for it. I can be a character in the play or whatever.
Yeah.
And I go back to check the cast list after it was posted,
Mm.
and I looked at the bottom of the list. I was like, oh, I guess I didn't get cast in anything.
Mm-hmm.
And now my friend was there with me. I just met him. We did like
Why did you
weeks.
go towards the bottom?
That's how my mind was conditioned.
Oh my gosh.
So then when my friend said, is that your name up there at the top? And I got the lead in the play. And
Wow.
had my friend not been there, I promise you, I would have probably just walked away and thought I didn't get a role. But my mind was so conditioned to saying
Mm-hmm.
I probably had one of the smaller parts in the play. And so being at Seton Hall, where it wasn't like I'm competing with, the Juilliard kids and
Mm-hmm.
I was able to like be told that, hey, you're really talented and you're special and get attention and et cetera. And, I was able to really kind of build my confidence and, was I a perfect actor? No. Was I able to work on that on stage? Yeah, I wasn't able to do that at my boarding school because the kids who were going to Juilliard was the ones who were working on stage, and I'm like, have 2 or 3 lines in the background. So it was awesome. It was awesome. And then so I played a lot of really great characters there. It was amazing. And then some of my friends who were in the city, my senior year of college.
You mean New York?
In New York, yes. Because my college wasn't too far. Something else I didn't know about Seton Hall either. It was only like 25, 30 minutes from the city.
Oh, wow.
On a train.
Yeah.
So I had no idea. Actually, until I went to school there. So I had some friends here at like NYU and Juilliard and just being professional actors in the city or trying anyway. And they're like, "Do you want to come audition with us for some stuff?" And I was like, "Oh, okay, I don't care." Like whatever. I had nothing to lose. I wasn't gonna be an actor.
Yeah.
And then I got second semester. I got cast in the tour of a Broadway musical called Aida. I got cast with one of the lead roles.
Broadway or off Broadway?
The tour.
Okay,
National
the
tour.
Okay.
National tour.
Okay.
And so that happened, and so I was going to go to law school, but then that happened.
You were going to go to law school after history. Wow.
And I was like, oh, this is a great opportunity to have. I was like 22, and so I deferred law school, and I went on tour with Aida, and I did that for a year. So, and I almost guarantee that had I went to like one of those big name schools and done all that stuff, that probably wouldn't have happened. I wouldn't have enough confidence to go, and I've gone to an audition.
Yeah. Wow.
And booked one of the lead roles. It was just one small thing.
So it's like your track is like there's nothing contrived, but at the end everything came together.
Comes together. Yeah.
Wow. So now my question, I just want to ask, because I've seen you do a lot of things, like most of your stuff that I've seen, which we'll end up talking about, most of them you are acting in it. Some of them you're taking the lead role, but it seems like a lot of the background work, a lot of the administration, a lot of the engineering, you also do it. So what would I call you? Like, what would be your number one title if somebody says, hey, what do you do? An actor?
Oh, no. I'm a producer.
A producer, okay.
I was a producer, and that covers a wide gamut of things. It's not like a real...
Yeah.
Not real, like,
or if you want to get
job
philosophical,
title.
you could just say I'm a storyteller. I just do everything to tell the story.
I'm a storyteller. So that's what it is. I do whatever I need to do to get something done. And everything else I do is kind of like
That's great.
Read books or Googled stuff and trying to figure out how to learn it so I can get it done. So the story can get out there.
That's cool. Wow. Okay, maybe we should go back to the beginning. Where are you from?
I'm from Detroit, Michigan.
Detroit. Oh, nice. Now, I have a lot of stories about Detroit. Somebody told me you could buy a house for $1,000 in Detroit.
You can buy a house pretty cheap nowadays in Detroit.
So what happened to the city? Like, the city went through a lot of, like, a unique sort of depression, right?
Yeah, I think... A lot of stuff started, I think, even before we were like born. Well, it's before I was born. A lot of the main struggles, like back in like the 60s or 70s, and that's because people want to say after the riots it was an issue, but
Mm-hmm.
and that's partly
Mm-hmm.
true, granted, but also with like this industrial globalization
Mm-hmm.
and you know, people kind of in the anti-union push and trying to find cheap labor and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
Places like Michigan that were heavily unionized and where people could work in the factory and still support their family and stuff
Mhm.
like that, you know, became less attractive, I think, to like a major industry. So it's, you had less and less producers actually producing in Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
You also had a lot of white flight in Michigan, like, you know,
A
there
lot
was
of
like
what?
we call it white flight, but
Okay.
basically people kind of leaving out of the cities and onto the
Oh.
suburbs,
I
right?
see. Yeah.
Which
Oh,
is-
white flight. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Which is starting to reverse its course, I think, nationally now.
Yes.
And a lot of young, you know, professionals of all colors are moving back into
Into
major,
the city, yeah.
major areas. But before,
So it's like
even New York,
it's like
it's like
opposite of gentrification would be white flight.
right, yeah. So when everybody moves out of the area and property values go down a
Yeah.
lot. So you had a lot of white flight, and there's a lot of construction. So you talking
Mhm.
about, and with that said, Detroit's home to the auto industry. So we have an incredible highway system.
Mhm.
You can go out to a far suburb, have a brand new constructed house for a
Mhm.
pretty decent price point, and be to work anywhere in 30 minutes anyway.
Mhm.
You look at it. So it's not like a convenience thing.
Yeah.
I guess in some other places that you have to live in the city.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of the issue too. But I think it can't be underestimated that, like, you know, a lot of those factory jobs that were good paying factory jobs ended up just going away.
Yes.
You know, and so when they went away, people started like, well, I can't make a good paycheck here. I gotta move someplace else and work at a factory in another state, or find another line of work, or just anything to survive. And so, and then from even me growing up, I know everybody I meet, if I guess from Detroit somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
or from Ohio or Detroit, all kind of Midwestern states who kind of
Mhm.
all experience some of the same things, basically. For me, it's like, it's not enough happening.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up, there's not that much going on. So you went from, you know, people who are educated instead of moving back to the city and buying a house and investing in the area, all deciding that they're going to move away
Yeah.
to a New York or an LA or Chicago
Yes.
or someplace like that. So I think that's a lot of what happened. But I do think nowadays you can see people are starting to move back into the city.
I see. Did you know anything about the filing of bankruptcy by the city? There was a time.
Yeah,
don't know,
I know a little
think
bit about
2-3 years ago. or something.
Yeah, I know they're out of bankruptcy now, and they did file bankruptcy. It was like, you know, obviously a good kind of legal move to make to kind of get the city kind of back on track.
Yeah.
You know, I think from what I understand, they've emerged pretty well out of that. And if you look at Detroit, it looks like, you know, parts of it anyway, looks like how Brooklyn was looking, you know, 10 or 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Where it wasn't perfect by any means,
Mhm.
but you starting to see like little coffee shops,
Yes.
little kind of bistros, little restaurants, and it's entrepreneurship.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to me, you know, I even still might one day, you know,
Yeah.
like as a young person and you don't have much capital and you want to start a business or something like that or start a new life, you know, Detroit's an awesome place to do that in.
Yeah.
Because at the same time where, you know, it might not be much going on right there, but it's awesome opportunity because it was at one point one of the 5 largest cities in America.
Yes.
It has lots of major resources that
Yes.
a lot of other cities actually won't have based on that fact alone, you know. So be able to have that many resources around you, space, opportunity, and
Yeah.
time on your hands,
Yeah.
you know, you can probably do something special in Detroit.
Yeah. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So growing up in Detroit, what was the surrounding like? I'm trying to figure out what made you creative. Like what what was nourishing your creativity around while growing up?
I think we're all just bored. I think that we're just bored. But Detroit has a lot of great. I mean, that's Motown. You have Diana Ross and Aretha
Yeah.
Franklin, and
Yeah.
you know all those greats. You're talking about, you know, Madonna's from Detroit,
Yep,
Eminem.
yep.
I mean, like Detroit got a lot of folks
True.
from that area, and I just think it's just, I don't know. I think it's just an energy there that's
Yeah.
often creative. I think part of it might just end up being, you know, you gotta be inside because it's cold a lot of times. You might not have money, you know, so you gotta figure out how to just stay creative, and that's just part of. I think it's just part of the swag, you know. I grew up doing a lot of theater, a lot of, you know, but it's a huge youth theater kind of. It's a huge youth theater kind of consortium in Detroit. So a lot of kids do theater in Detroit. A lot of singing happening in Detroit. So it's just a lot of stuff that kind of happens around the arts in Detroit, which is funny because it's not as if we have a lot of major institutions there to support it. But, you know, people find outlets. They kind of just do it, you know.
Wow. So your high school that you talked about earlier, was it in Michigan?
Yes, it's in northern Michigan, almost by like the Upper Peninsula.
How far was it from your home?
About 4 hours away.
Oh, wow.
So I
how
lived
did
there.
that come about? How did your parents decide to do that? Like,
I wanted to go. It was a school that everybody. It's like a school kind of like you want to go if you're lucky enough to get in. It's like, it's a boarding school, so it's like kind of like some of the ones that are kind of the prestigious ones over here on the East Coast, for example. But it's the arts, an arts version of that.
Yeah.
And it has a pretty like nice list of a good list of alumni that come from the school.
Like
who? The people who I think you know I know best is like, what's her name? Jewel. You know, singer Jewel.
Yeah.
Jewel went there. I think she's like she might be the only pop singer. I think that I know about.
What's the school called again?
The Interlochen Arts Academy.
Okay. Nice.
You have opera stars come out of there. You know, Josh Groban. You have people like I think who else? I think other like bigger names, but a lot of like, and especially in the finer arts.
Yeah.
You got a lot of people like on like Broadway and symphony orchestras and in the opera world, writers, the dance world. Some people, you have people in all these different worlds, and like major ballet companies, etc., who went to that school. And there's even an arts campus even older. And a lot of people went to that arts camp as well.
Nice. That's great. So when you told me earlier, so I'm skipping ahead now because I was going to ask you about college education, but even though I would like to hear it again, but I want to skip ahead to, you told me about going to grad school at Columbia. Yeah. So you toured with Aida, you came back, and then you said, I'm going to go back to school. Why? You already had a job. Like a lot of people, when they are in a creative art discipline, pursuing a degree, once they get a job, a lot of people quit. But you came out of a history major experience, and then you got a job, meaning that they found out that you were really talented, and you still went ahead to get a degree to go to grad school for art administration. So, do you want to?
Yeah, I mean, I went to law. Actually came back. I went to law school for a minute.
Oh,
I went there for a semester.
Where?
There's a law school in Long Island called Hofstra.
Okay, I've heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I went there for a semester. Wasn't feeling it. So
why law school though? What was your end goal then? What were you trying to do then?
I don't know. That's why I left that's probably the reason why I left, because I was studying history, and I think also growing up, I had always said I was going to be a lawyer.
Okay.
So that's something I always said I was going to do. Now, once I got to law school, and I just realized, I think also partly because I had done the tour as well. Once I got to school, I'm like, well, listen.
Did you go to law school before the tour or
No,
after? Okay.
Right after. And the tour, I was like, you know what? I am not passionate about this, and this is miserable. You know, so I was like, I'm not going to spend more time here. Like, I feel terrible.
Yeah.
So I just left. And then, so I did that. And then I was like, well, I don't want to be a bum. Let me reapply and do something. And so I had always thought about going into arts administration. I worked at a couple of different theater companies, interned, put it that way. Theater companies when I was in undergrad still.
Okay.
So like, well, let me just. I'm at when they start a theater company.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I started a black theater company in the city.
Oh, I see.
And so that's the reason why, because New York doesn't have any black theater companies.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, let me go ahead and try to do something like that. And so that's why I wanted to start arts administration.
I see.
I figured out the better, and Columbia has a great program in that. And so yes, that's why I ended up going back so I could theoretically open a premier kind of African American theater company in New York.
Yeah. And at the end, you're actually doing something like that, something kind of almost, but in an updated updated environment, more technology driven. So which gets us to your company, Novas Production. I always mispronounce that. Did I pronounce it correctly?
It's correct. It's
okay,
correct.
So that's your company. So, please, can you tell me a little bit more about it? I read about it, but
oh yes. So
there's a lot on the. There's a lot. It's like a huge umbrella of a lot of things.
Yes, we do a lot. We do film. We do web series. We do theater. Hopefully one day some more a TV series and stuff like that. You know, we are really committed to putting out their works that really highlight the LGBT community of color.
Yeah,
specifically.
I see that.
It doesn't comment on our circumstance. So it's not like, oh, you know, I'm black and gay. This is my life is like. Yeah. It's not like that. It's just the stories happen to have LGBTQ people of color as the lead roles. Yes. And we don't really talk about it. Like it's not really.
It's like it's subtle. It's very subtle. And one thing, like I watched, I had seen that series. I had seen an episode of Drama Queens.
Okay.
I think about 2 years ago, you know, and I was just laughing. I'm like, okay, this is obviously exaggerated gay characters, but at the same time, there's a message. At the same time, this is funny as hell. You know? So I was just laughing, and finally, when I started reading up about you, I'm like, oh, this is the web series I saw back in the day, and this was funny. Yeah, I just wanted to interject. So, do you want to continue, please?
Oh no, perfect. So that's the first thing randomly that I ended up doing with my roommates. We actually all grew up together in Detroit, and we were living together in the city, and people were like, oh, y'all need y'all on a reality show. Y'all so funny. You're like, reality show? We were like, well, it would be funny if we did like a show around it. And I remember between me going back to grad school and me jumping out of law school. Yeah. No, I did find I had an agent, and I was going on a couple of auditions. Oh,
you had an agent?
For like a second. My heart really wasn't in it. I'm not going to. So, agent.
Do you know what people do to get an agent?
You know what? Looking back at it now, that goes to show you, though, because it goes to show you that, like, if you're passionate about, and I have lots of people who I'm friends with who, like, came up with me, who are on Broadway and who are killing it and who are doing their thing, you know, it just wasn't in me to happen. Like, I didn't go to, like, going to auditions. I didn't really like being on tour that much. It was just like, it's just had to get up and, like, sing and dance. It just wasn't for me. I wish it was more so, but it just wasn't in that capacity. But I had a call back for the musical. Okay, you said I have an embarrassing story. Here we go. So it was my final call back. Yeah. Final call back for the musical Mamma Mia on Broadway. Okay. And we seen it. It's like an album musical. To one of the lead.
I want to get this. Hold on. What?
Bring this closer to your mouth. Oh, a little bit closer.
Maybe if I put this in your back, you mind if I put this in your back so that whatever you do, it's gonna be
right here.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So I was.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I was doing Mamma Mia, and not doing. So my final audition. I've been doing like 3 auditions for it, and I was like I was up for the lead, got a male role. Wow. In the show, just like I'm gonna kill this. I got this, and My audition was at 10 a.m. the next day. My final call back 10 a.m. the next day to dance. And I'm a decent mover, I'm not a dancer, but it's fine. Like a movement call for people. And my audition was at 10 a.m. Went to bed early. Everything's all good. When I tell you that I woke up at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
That next day.
I think that was an episode I saw.
I woke up at 10 a.m. the next day. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So then I rushed to the audition. Then it gets worse because I rushed out there. I'm like about 45, 50 minutes late. And I see more guys sitting there. I'm like, okay, great. Maybe I can go in with these select group of guys to dance. Nothing lost. We're all fine. Come to find out, those guys who were sitting down and waiting were really chorus boy dancers who were going into their final callback. So they were doing the hardest routine imaginable. Imaginable. And I go in there and I try to do it. I completely embarrass myself. Nowadays I probably would have walked out the room. But no. Completely just embarrassed myself, just a mess. It was just awful. And I was just so devastated that I went home and I started writing drama queens. So I think the first episode basically deals with that.
Yes.
In so many ways of it.
I saw that episode.
So it was just a mess. And everybody has like these ridiculous audition stories and just how life kind of intervenes and it's just a mess. And so that's what it is. And so Drama Queens was between me and my friends who lived together at the time in Queens. And we made the series and we know what we were doing. At first we had kind of like a camcorder basically and just a lot of grit and determination. But we ended up doing this is before people were really doing web series. So you ended
up having like close to more than 200 episodes, right?
No. But we had 3 seasons.
3 seasons. Oh, okay.
So we had 3 episodes.
There was one I saw 207.
Oh,
like, okay.
So that means the second season.
Okay,
so like 20 whatever. Then we had 301.
Yeah.
So if you look
how many
at
episodes did you have
all together? I think we did over. Wait, sorry. 6, 7. 23 episodes. 23 episodes.
That's a lot.
23 episodes. The last season was like longer episodes. Last season actually looks good. So if you look at season 3, you'll see it looks much better than it did in season 1 or 2.
Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be.
But it's funny. So we kind of grew with the in the era of web series. We kind of grew along with the medium, and we kind of just did our thing. And it was great. We were lucky to have lots of great support. We love other great artists like Baron and other people at different festivals. We were featured across the country. We went on cruises. We did all types of kind of this crazy stuff with Drama Queens. It was a lot of fun.
So you guys, most of the people involved in the project, like your friends you mentioned, who were the actors, you and they were the actors. Who edited it? Who did all the editing? And
I did all the editing.
Oh, you did all the editing. Oh my gosh. You're super talented. I don't know. It's a lot. They say triple threat, but this is going to like I don't even know how to call 5. This is more than quadruple threat. I don't know. Pent something threat. But that's what's up. So, and you sing well. I heard you, unless that wasn't you singing it. I think that was the first episode. You sang like for like a minute at the audition. Yeah, that was good. That's like, you sounded really well, really good for somebody who is not. No, you sounded better than some real singers that I know, people who call themselves singers.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
That's great. So now, what's your latest project is called Subway?
That's what's out right now. Okay. It's called Subways. It's my first feature film that I wrote and directed.
How
so basically,
long is it?
about 81 minutes.
Wow.
So we're under an hour and a half.
That's a huge adventure.
Oh yeah, it was great. It's been great. It took a while to edit everything, and I was lucky enough to collaborate with some great people, like have Baron and Naj give me some music to use in the film. It's been great. It centers around this gentleman who's basically dealing with, depression. I would say because of an accident with a kind of like a little twist in it, and how he's related to the whole incident. It kind of deals with like kind of the ugliness of our spirits sometimes, but also at the same time the kind of the beauty, how we had the potential to be both really ugly and really beautiful as people.
That's great. That's nice. Yeah. And you were at the Harlem Film Festival.
Yes, we were at the Harlem International Film Festival. We won the Harlem Spotlight Best Feature award.
Wow. Getting into, people don't know how hard it is to get into a film festival. It's like really hard.
It's more difficult than you think. Yeah, who you telling? I was like, good Lord, this is a lot more difficult than you think it is. So it was great to even get into a festival. You're right. I'm happy it was in Harlem, and I'm happy we won something from it. It's great.
Wow. Oh, wow. So, okay, I want to get a little bit deep. A little deeper now that I know that you have all these degrees. So I kind of believe that art influences public policy, and having seen some of your work, they usually have this subtle LGBT flavor to it. Is that deliberate? And do you think, are you trying to, make a statement, or are you just doing the best or the work that comes from you naturally with the intention of it having some kind of effect on public policy? Do you understand what I mean?
I get you. I think definitely art affects policy. I think that listen, I wouldn't say I'm a political person. I'm very attuned. I know what's going on. In
You're
the
very
world.
what?
So attuned.
Yeah.
What's going on out there? So I follow everything very closely. But I don't think I would ever. I do hope that by putting work out there, and we can see this. I say the similarity in our differences, like that. By and large, a lot of us, we have a lot more in common than we have, than we are different. And so, and I think I can inspire dialogue. It can inspire compromise. It can inspire a lot of stuff, So I'm like, even let's say like an advocate for, a lot of stuff other than like compromise and people being fair to one another and trying to be good to one another. Lord knows. And so I do hope that the work starts there and kind of starts these conversations, even to how we look and view ourselves.
Yes.
As people. I'm working on a film right now that deals with race and racism as it pertains to being an LGBT person. And it's something we really think about, But once again, like, just because you are afflicted does not mean that you, on the other hand, can afflict other or can harm or be prejudicial towards others, and we see that all the time in communities, on both the black side, on the white side, on every single side. We see these prejudices, and at the same time we're all trying to kumbaya and Black Lives Matter and blah blah blah. It's really interesting, and so. And so, I'm working on a film like that right now too. So it hits on some chords, hopefully, of things, but hopefully it makes people think and start to see how a lot of times we're being ridiculous.
Yes. I see what you're saying. Definitely. Wow. So, what I get is that, like, it's good for us to, art helps tell our stories.
Yeah.
Whatever our mean, whoever you are, like if you have an art that represents you and tells your story, it makes it easier for people to know you and actually know that we're all just going through the same thing. But if you let other people tell your story, it's difficult. Yeah, it becomes they just tell it however they want to tell
It's their
it.
story. Yeah, and I think that's the other thing too. Like, there are things that concern me or that I'm passionate about, but I'm always interested in putting out there like what I want to see.
Yes.
What I would like to see, what enthralls me, what interests me, or subjects. I'm also just interested in just expressing myself and telling my story. And I don't think I could write. Maybe I could, but I don't think I could write like a story with enough depth there if it wasn't somehow related to me.
Yeah.
In some capacity.
I see.
Like I think men can write wonderful female characters, but I'm sure however good that script is, it might be a little bit stronger if a female had her perspective on it as well. So I think that's how I feel too.
Nice. Wow, that's well put. I wanted to talk about have you done other things, some maybe freelance things that are not under the umbrella of your company, Nova Novas?
Yes, I actually work in television a lot on a lot of reality projects, reality shows. So I actually develop a lot in that space.
Yeah, I was looking at your IMDb. Is it called IMDb? IMDb, sorry. Yeah, I was looking at it and I saw this shows about the Amish. Is that so? What's that about?
About Breaking Amish, maybe.
Breaking Amish, yeah. Is it about Amish or is just?
Yes. That was a show I worked on, and it deals with young people who were born and raised Amish, who want to try what it's like to not be Amish for a while, and it's like almost saying like Mars on Earth.
Yeah,
because it's like so different, because like they live their whole existence and they live so completely differently from us, yet they're like right next door almost sometimes, and when they're around 17 or 18, they have the chance of going out there in the world and experiencing it for themselves finally. And so it's kind of documenting that process and figuring out that they want to stay Amish and live a plain, simple life, which are their values.
Yes.
Or do they want to enter the secular world and deal with all the challenges that are here, so it's an interesting project.
And I heard that a lot of them end up choosing to remain Amish, right?
A lot of people do go back to being Amish. It's difficult too, because it's a complicated situation. I think part of it is once you know that you can survive with nothing, you don't need Netflix, you don't need X, Y, and Z, you don't need so many things. You start to realize, why am I going to drive myself crazy over going to this job or working to survive and when I know how to build stuff, I know how to make my own food, I know how to I can survive without all these conveniences. On the other hand, there's some people who really don't think it's for them, who want to live in a society and know what Taylor Swift is up to or whatever. So it's interesting, and there's also an educational component, because they stop being educated after the 7th grade. So that's another thing that's interesting about the whole situation, is that they don't necessarily sometimes I'm not trying to say everybody, a lot of them start being educated in 7th grade. So it's kind of to some of them a difficult choice, in the sense that like they're going to need more of an education if they're going to survive outside of the community. And so I think it's a very complex situation. And some people want to go right back because it's it's better for them, and some people don't. So it's interesting.
Wow. And it still relates to the whole thing we're talking about about arts and public policy.
Yes.
Bringing them to the spotlight is helping other people know about their story and letting them tell their story, instead of just going by what we read about them in the books and stuff like that. Cool. Yeah. Okay. So I wanted I wanted to ask you started something and I interrupted you. So I want to go back to it. You were talking about the reality shows that you've done.
Yes.
Yeah, please.
Yes.
Can you?
I worked on shows for a lot of different networks. TLC.
Okay.
Toast on Lifetime. Toast on Discovery.
Okay.
And my
Any
job is
ratchet
mostly
ones?
no. Unfortunately, nothing ratchet. I would love to. I would love to, but I have not. I have not yet. Have not yet. But yeah, I mean, I've a lot of shows I've done. Utilize a lot of my research skills, and I've delved into like subcultures, like the Amish, or the shows about Native Alaskans.
Yes. I saw that too.
And a bunch of these different projects in common, and those different types of weird, not weird, but subcultures within the United States. That a lot of shows I've worked on per se. But I would love to work on a ratchet show if I have a good chance. Some of my favorite.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, this is so fun. But let's make it a little funner. There's this game I call Turn Up or Mute. So I'm just going to mention something, and if you like that, you tell me. You say turn up. If you don't like it, you say mute. Random things. Okay. All right. Tamar Braxton.
Turn up.
Turn up. Why though? Why?
I think she just does her. She's living it. She recognizes the opportunity she's had with the show and everything like that, and she's doing it. And I think it's cool that she's just being herself.
Yeah.
And is having a ball.
Why is she always exaggerated with her attitude? With her,
some people just have fun. Some people just have fun that way. I love it. I'm like, listen, if you're confident enough, and or whatever, and that's you having fun with life. You do it like that. I'm like, go for it. Why
she
not?
Can sing though.
She's a very good singer.
Okay, you mentioned Taylor Swift.
Mute.
Oh, okay. Understandable. Have you listened to any of her music? Any of her songs?
I listened to a couple of her songs.
Okay.
I just think it's a different generation from what
true.
I'm in.
True. All right. Ben Carson.
Mute.
We don't even need to get into that, but sliders. Do you know what sliders are?
Like the little burger?
Yes. What do you think? I usually have arguments about sliders. I want to hear.
Mute.
What's your reason?
It's just like a tease of a burger.
I know.
I think it's it might be a ripoff, honestly.
Me too. I feel like yes, it's a ripoff because the bread ended up being just way larger than the meat itself. So I don't like it. Anyway, okay. The last one. No, not the last one. Empire, the show.
Oh, I don't know. Turn up. Maybe.
Turn up. Okay, I understand. Yeah. I usually end up watching it on Hulu Plus, and some things are just exaggerated for me too.
I don't mind it. The issue, I think that last season it was ridiculous, but it was always like really compelling. This season's a little bit not as compelling.
Yeah.
The storyline's just a little weirder.
Yeah, I don't understand where they're going.
I know they're going with it.
Okay. Delicious lives. We leave the empire. We come back to the empire. We want to take it. We leave it. It's like, okay.
What's going on? Yeah.
Yeah. How is it gonna end up? Okay. The last one, marijuana.
Oh, for me, mute.
Yeah.
But I think for everybody else can do this.
Turn up. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. That's it. This was great. Thank you, Dane. Thank you so much. Later.
Mountains, mighty mountains, how high, unreachable like the sky. Once a dream, yes, a dream was to climb, and yes, to stand up all night. For history to become a mystery undone, to think that one's dreams will easily die, or just lay down there without a life. It's nothing but a lie. Ever had a good dream that you think defines your future? Ever met a dreamer that you think has got your nature? Do you want to jump? Do you want to scream? Do you want to shout? Whatever you do, just believe in yourself. Ooh, that's a dream. mind, let's try like a kite and fly so high for that dream I shall find and to stand upon high. So don't you ever ask me why, neither try to tell me those are lies. Impossible, they say, of many dreams. Unreachable, unreachable, they think. That a dream is impossible, is impossible. That a dream is impossible, is impossible. Make you do your best, make you pray to God. God go do the rest, God go see you through. That a dream is impossible, is impossible.
Never you wait in faithless complacency or in a passive life unfulfilled. Hold on to your dream and run with it.
Don't put a limit on what you can do.
Step over the brink, my friend.
Dream,
From imagination to actualization.
dream, I'm telling you that the sky is your limit. So don't be afraid to dream.
I'll tell you what's impossible. That a dream is impossible.